All right, my people.
My people. All right, let's go. My topic is school uniforms for grades K through 12. My purpose is to persuade and persuading others to support the enforcement of children's grades through 12, K through 12 to having to wear school uniforms. By wearing a assigned uniform, numerous statistics prove that there are many positive outcomes by having a dress code rather than dressing freely. Many parents, teachers, and also students will disagree with the thought of enforcing a specific school uniform idea. Traditionally, the most private schools strongly enforce them. Regular school uniforms, not so much for public schools. Schools that do enforce a uniform usually have good intentions for carrying out this act. Let me persuade you more positives in requiring a school uniform to be worn rather than no restrictions. While completing my research on this topic, I have gathered much information to prove to you that there are more positive outcomes in enforcing school uniforms. Though uniforms are not technically a requirement, they are more successful. You can focus more in classrooms, and there's less violence. While completing my research on this topic, I have found that much information I can prove to you that there are more positive outcomes in school uniforms. The uniforms are not technically required in school systems. There are more successful students with higher GPAs in schools. The schools requiring them often often send more students off to college. According to Procon.org, statistics prove that schools' uniforms have less crime, improved attendance, and also students who focus better in classrooms. As a few of my points, I would like to supply you with more positives, helping you gain more knowledge about the enforcement of school uniforms for grades K through 12. I would like to explain to you the attributes on this topic. 77% of people will say that school uniforms are a good idea. The other 23% will disagree and proclaim that schools should not require them. There isn't really anyone who enjoys having to wear a uniform. I went to high school wearing school uniforms and I hated every second of it. There isn't really anyone that does want to wear a uniform either, but it is much simpler for parents. But Marie Myers states children look so nice in uniforms, which is, I do agree with that. Everyone looks much nicer. There's no requirement for children to wear a uniform in the state of Mississippi, although through research I can prove to you that schools in Mississippi do require a dress uniform and more positive outcomes rather than the public schools who do not. Public schools require more violence and profanity and less attendance. Children tend to drop out more. The most common school types that enforce a uniform is Catholic schools. Catholic schools and private schools began enforcing uniforms early by the Europeans. The tradition continues as it became a symbol of those who could go to private school and afford it. The code is directly to be plaid, which is a strong symbol of docility and obedience. The list of improvements that are within the schools have a uniform code that go on and on. All the socks, the bracelets, the necklaces, the earrings, the hair. But a few of these positives do include the decreasing amount of violence within the school grounds, and also many sources that uniforms do help children focus and not be distracted by the bright colors that their peers will be wearing. They can focus more on the classroom as they are dull colors. John A. Huss published a journal quoting, teachers in this study perceived the uniforms enhanced the learning environment by encouraging integrity among their peers, enriching the quality of interactions between faculty and students, and improving discipline. Student academic skills are thoroughly proven to increase with wearing uniforms. I would like to prove to you some disagreements. The 25% that remain, they say school uniforms are a bad idea. They say one reason is students can't express themselves. An argument is that the First Amendment says every individual has a specific right to express themselves freely. But also another great argument is specific uniforms decrease student self-image. Students are limited to what they can wear having a uniform code. If students are only in a class approximately 7 hours of each day, they have the opportunity to freely express their outerwear and themselves by the things they wear for the remainder of the day. They can also choose what they wish to wear on the weekends, which is